how did you address and/or attract your audience? Firstly, through images used, I used relevant images and images which were conventional to the genre of hip-hop and R&B. These images were conventional and relevant due to the clothing in which the artist wore and the facial expressions in which they show. The clothing they wore was quite hip-hop, with the short hot pants and crop tops, as well as the lack of clothing even worn, which showed sex appeal. Also the facial expressions, which were quite seductive and sexy, which also portrayed sex appeal. Also, direct mode of address was portrayed through the images, which was where the model looked directly toward the audience, establishing that they had a relationship. Also, I supposedly used well-known cover artists on the cover, which obviously drew the reader into wanting to read more, because obviously the artists were well known, therefore they wanted to read exclusive details about their life, etc. Another point is the colours I used. The house style colours I used were red, blue, gold, black, white and grey. I used these colours throughout of the magazine, and these colours are in fact conventional to the genre. They're quite bright and attract the eye also. The red is definitely probably the most conventional colour to this genre of magazine, as the red suggests danger, which connotes to the artist being quite rebellious, which is a conventional element to the hip-hop and R&B genre. Because of the artist being quite rebellious and dangerous and naughty, it kind of attracts the audience to read these articles and information about them being like this. Also, the content is another point. The cover lines which are used are quite appealing due to like personal pronouns used, such as you, which obviously immediately addresses the reader, making the reader feel involved, because obviously it's like you're drawing them into, like, they're obviously associated with it all. Also, buzzwords and buzzwords used, such as like secrets, tips, free, win, like obviously attract the audience because they feel they like are included. Like, for example, words such as win, as though they're in it to win it type thing. Also, the cover artists are well known, as I've mentioned before, and obviously they look conventional to the genre with the fashion they wear, like big jewellery and obviously short shorts, like fashion, like the clothing or the lack of clothing maybe. They also have like big hair and big eyes, like big makeup done, and they generally just look quite hip hop through facial expressions also. Also, the double page spread article is interesting to the audience, because obviously the audience are interested in wanting to find out information on these artists, about their life and about things they're up to, like the award they're winning, maybe the fights they're in, maybe the crimes they're doing, because obviously R&B artists are quite violent and aggressive, and it's quite stereotypical that they're in fights, etc. So obviously they want to find out this, and obviously this attracts the audience. That's why in the article on my double page spread there is quite a bit of a tiff between two rappers, which obviously hopefully draws the reader in. Also, images used within, like associated with these articles, also draws the reader in, because obviously they see what's actually happening through the use of image, and obviously therefore it attracts them. Also, bold titles within the content of the magazine attract the reader. Mainly I've used sans serif for the headlines or headings of pages. This is because they're big and they like stand out, they're quite plain, not really decorative, and also I've used them on white backgrounds. This because I've actually chose to do all my headlines or headings of pages, such as a masthead and etc. Like the masthead of the magazine and the headlines of all the pages are in black, so therefore on a white background they stand out and attract the reader the most. Also, the typography is the last point what I'm going to make really. Masthead and the heading of double page spread are in serif font, as I've just mentioned, which comes under typography also, which because of this the mastheads are quite eye-catching because they're quite plain, big and bold. Also the body copy on double page spread is serif font. This is a conventional element not just to R&B magazines but to all magazines. It's conventional and it's easier to read in bulk actually, due to the decorative lines. Also, my actual magazine mainly uses serif font on cover lines of the contents page and the front cover. This isn't a conventional element really, although in my SurveyMonkey questionnaire the audience actually rated the font either 4 or 5 out of 5, which is obviously quite good. So it means that even though it's not a conventional element, the audience are still interested and attracted to reading these font styles. Also, my last point, certain words in the typography obviously use either red or blue colours instead of the usual other colours such as black or gold or grey. These are obviously more bright colours and therefore stand out in these specific words, obviously jump out to attract the audience. Therefore it means that the audience is attracted because of these bright colours on these specific words. So I do actually think my magazine appeals and attracts and addresses its audience really.